Hello guys, it's SamuraiCaliber doing a little Beyblade unboxing, so we finally have SamuraiCaliber. So, a new BX release, which I don't think was the best move, but still a new Samurai, so we will check it out and see what it's all about. The bid is definitely the focus here, but anyway, let's go and open it up. Alright, here are the instructions. Nothing really important there. Starting with the ratchet, we got 670, a new part, not really that crazy though. We've had 6-sided ratchets before, we had 7 hits before, just kind of a new ratchet by proxy, so yeah, looks pretty nice. I like the kind of turquoise color on the outside here. Looks pretty good, nothing crazy, but still fairly nice. Now we have the blade. Usually I say the blade for last, but like a lot of recent BX bays, the blade isn't really the best part here, so here it is. It is purple, which, I mean, does look pretty cool, but just nothing too crazy. I've had BX for 2 years now. It almost has like a square design. I guess that's kind of interesting. Got some interesting comic points here. It's something, but just nothing that crazy. Decent color scheme though. Now we have merge, the craziest part. This has kind of a needle type of point here, which I don't like. Really wish this was more rounded to be more ball-like, because this I could see getting destabilized pretty easily. Got the rubber out here with these kind of notches, which is strange. 18 gears here, which is insane. And then this is also 4 millimeters taller than normal, which high bits are 1 millimeter taller. Disc ball was 2. So this is 4. That's just wild. I don't know what they were doing with this one, but yeah. Absolutely massive bit, which, yeah, it's something. I guess you could argue that the needle might be intentional. Maybe they want this to be more chaotic, so it, like, tilts more often. Goes crazier, you see the extreme one more often, but I don't know if that's a good thing, even it's their concept, but yeah. Interesting bit regardless, though. Moving on to the part weights. So first up we do have 670, 6.37, merge, 3.36, decently heavy, and of course SamuraiCaliber, 36.08, so a pretty decent weight there. And then the full combo is 45.83, so fairly heavy, I would say. Now, putting this thing together, which I should probably... There we go. So putting this thing together will probably look very awkward. Yeah, here it is. SamuraiCaliber 670 merge. Yeah, that bit is just really, really tall for absolutely zero reason. Does have the extra burst resistance as well, which I should probably mention, but yeah, it's definitely quite a bit. So yeah, it's very, very strange looking, I would say, but yeah. Aside from merge though, there's not really a whole lot to talk about here. It is a BX base, so I don't really expect much, which again, I've kind of talked about not being the biggest fan of BX at this point. Also, I'm not sure we're gonna get like a CX Samurai or anything, or at least not one anytime soon, so I know CX has its issues, but it would have been cool to see a CX Samurai here, I think, instead of this BX one. Could have still had 670 merge, I don't see why not, but I don't know, that could have been interesting. But regardless, this is what we got, so how do I want to rate it? Aesthetically, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. The kind of square shape is interesting here, merge is somewhat striking, the color scheme is nice, but I just feel like overall it's not that crazy. Merge does, you know, stand out, but it's kind of awkward. It doesn't really do the combo any favors, but doesn't like really harm it for me either, just kind of there. And again, solid color scheme all around. The blade is pretty solid again, it's just kind of a decent bit, you know. Merge is weird, but also kind of interesting. The color scheme is pretty good, so I think a 6 is a fair score. Has a pretty solid aesthetic design to it. Now, conceptually is where I'm kind of stuck on this thing. on one hand it's BX, which I'm generally not big on. And then merge is weird because I don't know how I want to interpret it. On one hand, it being kind of chaotic is interesting, but on the other hand, I don't really like that idea. Why make a bit like this if you're going to purely rely on the rubber and gears and try to kind of almost avoid that point with how it's shaped? I guess you could argue it being more aggressive is closer to SamuraiCaliber and kind of how that works, and maybe a little bit closer to level even, but I don't know, I think they could have just made it more round and it would have been a lot better. And while yes, it means it wouldn't have been as chaotic, it'd still be very chaotic with the amount of rubber it has, and also with 18 gears, it's plenty chaotic. It just has a better chance of not being as chaotic at all times, because I feel like this can definitely get destabilized a bit easier than you might want it to. So with that in mind, I'm going to give this thing a 4 out of 10 conceptually, because I do think Merge was somewhat missed potential. It's not bad. It's also really tall, which is awkward, but I think the word awkward is really the best way to sum up Merge. It's not bad, it's just really strange, and beyond that, the ratchet pair is fine. I'm glad they used 70 height, because Takaratomi's version of Samurai Steel as well as Samurai Saber had the 70 height, so that makes sense, 6 sides. Pairs decently multi-blade, so that works. But SamuraiCaliber itself is BX, and I said before, I'm probably going to be a bit more harsh on BX bays because they don't really do anything. There's nothing to them like with UX or CX. And I think 2 years in, it's starting to feel a little underwhelming. So for me, I'm going to give it a 4 to 10. Could have been a 5 if it was either of those at the very least. But if not, it definitely would have been higher if Merge was a bit better. I don't know. I feel like there was definitely just some missed opportunity here for a new Samurai Bay. But yeah. Anyway, before I go, I will also do some comparisons to the previous Samurai Bays. So first, we do have another BX Samurai here, technically, which is awkward, but yeah, Samurai Steel, which, very interesting to have 2 of these, one being a weird kind of prototype, and this is technically a brand new one, so yeah, very, very strange how they handle this, but sure, I guess, and you could just see how much taller this thing is. It's really just something else, but yeah, anyway. Very, very interesting. And of course, the more well-known Samurai Saber, which I still prefer Saber's design quite a bit, honestly, but I mean, I like the color scheme on Caliber at the very least. I just think Saber, physically, in terms of its molding, is a bit more striking. I guess Level's pretty cool. I mean, Merge and Level are both nice, but yeah, Level's a bit more sensible, I think, but yeah. I don't know, I just prefer this design a little bit, in the color scheme slightly, but I mean, Caliber still looks fairly nice, at least. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about SamuraiCaliber. It's just not that crazy of a bay, and I think Merge is just such an awkward part to really talk about because of how it was handled. I'm not really big into battling, as I've said quite a few times at this point, so for me, it doesn't actually matter that much, but for unboxings and stuff, I like to talk about it, because I feel like it's what people are probably the most interested in, especially with a part like Merge, because I know there is kind of a legacy with this part, you know, with Coat Sharp from Metal Fight, or even Unite from Burst, so could have been a bit better, but anyway, that's all to say, so thanks for watching, and bye-bye.